Hello everyone. Well, I'm really happy that people showed a lot of love for my video on deploying Spring Boot application on AWS Elastic Beanstalk. In this video, we are going to deploy an Spring Boot application on AWS Elastic Beanstalk along with an MySQL database. Now, also a couple of people faced a lot of issues on EC2 instance profile and other things. So I'll also give you the solution for those issues as well. Let's get started. So first, as usual, we are going to open our AWS console home, and from here we're going to go for Elastic Beanstalk. So first of all, what we are going to do, we'll start with create an application. Let's give an application Spring Boot employee app, right? So this is the same application I'm going to deploy right now. And anything else that I want to ensure, okay, let it be, right? So we don't want to change anything. Let it be managed platform, and we are going to select the platform as Java, and we will select the latest runtime, whatever is available. I'm not going to change it. Remaining things as it is. Currently I'm going with the simple application itself, and anything else I don't want to change. Let's go with next. Okay, so let's see the next thing. So here we are going to select the role, right? So if you are already having a role, I have already created a role, so I'm going to select this role, or we can create a new role. That's not a big deal. The problem is here, right? So you might not be finding this EC2 instance profile, right? So for me, right, so you see some instance profiles are being displayed, but for you might not be displaying those instance profile. So how to create this instance profile? Well, in order to do this, what I will do, I'll go to the services, and I will go to the IAM service, right? So let's go to IAM. Okay, so let's go to the IAM service, and I'll open the IAM service over here, and over here we'll go to roles, right? So we are going to create some roles. Okay, so first of all, what we are going to do, let's create a role, right? So let's create a role. Okay, click on create a role, and you see AWS service, right? So we have different options. Select the AWS service use case, right? So you just select EC2, right? So from here you select EC2. Cool, right? So next, go to next and add some permission here. What are all permissions you need to add, right? I'll also write all those things in the caption of this video as well. So first of all, we have to search for AWS Elastic Beanstalk. You see Elastic Beanstalk. Okay, AWS Elastic Beanstalk. Search for WebTier. Select this WebTier. So this is what we need, and along with that, you can add this worker tire as well. In future, it might be useful. Right now, we don't need it, the worker tire. I'll add it as well. And one more thing that we are going to use, the multi-container Docker image. So let's search for multi-container Docker, right? So this is the other one, right? So this is what we need to add. Cool. Let's click on next, and this is like role name. We are going to give a role name as let's EMP app EC2 profile. Okay, so I've just given a name, right? So we can give any name, doesn't really matter. And okay, so that's fine, and that's cool, right? So let's create the role. Okay, so once we create the role, now if we go here and if you just refresh it, okay, now look at this, right? So is it coming here, right? So the one EMP app EC2 profile, right? So you can see right over here, right? So this is the step that you need to do in order to get your instance profile. So I hope this will solve the issues that you had previously. So let me select this profile only, and over here what we are going to do, I don't need a key pair. I don't want to log into this machine. It's an optional. If at all you want to add, you can do it. Right now I don't need it. So let's go to next, and okay, so public IP address, yes I want. VPC, I'll select the default VPC. Okay, I'll select the subnets. Anyone is fine. You can select multiple subnet as well. It's your choice. Database, currently I'm not choosing any database. Let it be free. I'll choose it later on. Right now I'm not enabling the database. Let it be. And everything else is same. Let's click on next, and let's wait for it. And anything else, right? So root volume, let it be, right? We don't want to make any changes. Everything is fine. Security group, if at all you want to apply anything, right? So I'll apply all the security groups. Okay, I don't want to make any changes. Let's go to next. Everything is fine, right? So you can go with the basic or enhance. I'll go with the basics. I don't need any manage updates, and anything is fine, right? So I don't want anything else. I will go and click on next. That's all. And I'll start the environment. Let's launch the environment. Okay. So it will launch the environment. It will take some time. So application has been started. You can just check this domain, and over here you can see congratulations, it will show, right? So it has deployed a sample application. So what do we need to do right now? So let's open our Spring Boot, right? So this is our Spring Boot application. Same application I can show you, right? So this is the same thing, right? So what we had previously, the same employee application, and let's run it on our local machine first. So let's run it on our local machine. And remember, this time we are using MySQL, right? So it's using MySQL, and over here you can see it has started the application, and everything seems fine. And okay, so let's launch the page, right? Localhost, which is running on localhost 5000, right? As I told you earlier, right? So we have to use localhost 5000 only. So this is what we have, right? So right now let me post an employee, and let's try it out, and let's give an ID, anything, 101 or 201. Name is maybe Javed, email javed@yahoo.com, and address maybe he is from Bangalore, just like me. Okay. Cool, right? So what I'm going to do, let's execute this, and over here we can see a 200 response which has been stored in the database. Let's verify this. I will open my database, just a minute. So this is my MySQL, and we can check the properties. The application properties are already here, right? So we have stored the data in a database called employee_db. Let's use this. So we are going to come here, use employee DB, okay, and select, okay, star from employee. I guess that's the database table name, and we can see, right, 201 Bangalore, Javed@yahoo.com, and Javed, right? So this is the one which has been saved. Right now we have saved it, right? So everything is fine, right? So it's working fine on our local machine. Now we're going to deploy it on AWS. How exactly we are going to do this? Well, in order to do this, we know the basic steps. We have to build the jar file. We have to deploy the jar file on Elastic Beanstalk. Now the thing is, we need to start a database in our AWS as well. So for that, what we need to do, we have a service called RDS, Relational Database Service. In order to use this relational database service, what I'll do, I will go to the applications configurations, right? So right over here, right? So you can see over here. So this, right? So you see configuration. Click on the configuration of your applications. You have to be in the application homepage and click on the configuration. So go to the configuration, and over here you can see a section called networking and database, right? So click on edit the configuration. Okay. VPC will remain same, no changes. Public IP address would be same, no changes. Now let's choose the database. So I'll choose the database in the same subnet, and let's click on enable database. So after enabling the database, what we need to do, snapshot, don't select any snapshot, right? Because if you are already having some snapshot, that's a different case, but you don't need to select any snapshot. What we need to do, we will select MySQL, the database as MySQL, version is whatever the latest version is available. You can choose any version, doesn't matter. So I am selecting the one which is already being selected, 8.0.35. And instance class, you can select any instance class. So by default, whatever is being selected, let me go with that only. And username, right? So you have to select a username and password. So the default username is being given as ebroot. You can change it to root or whatever it might be, right? So it is not going to impact, right? So you can keep it anything. There is no rules here. Password, that's all. Password is password only. Next is availability. Let it be low. Don't create a snapshot. Next is retention policy, keep it delete, so I'll tell you why to keep it delete, because this is not something that we are deploying, and this is not a very important project to be deployed. When we terminate the environment or when we delete that application, the database also should get deleted. If I don't do this, so what will happen? Either if I go to create snapshot, the snapshot would be saved inside S3 and you would be charged for it later on. Similarly, if I do a retain option, so that RDS database instance would be saved and would be running, and again you would be charged. So make sure to choose the delete option, so that once you delete the application, the database also should get deleted. You should never do this when you are actually deploying a serious project, right? Okay, so let's click on apply. Okay, so it will take some time because the database has to be launched up, so you have to wait for some time. The configuration changes. Just remember that the username I have given as root and the password I kept it as password only. Okay, this is something that you need to remember. So you can see over here that RDS database creation has been started. Let's wait for a couple of minutes so that it can be launched. It might take some time. You have to keep some patience, right? It might take from 5 minutes to 10 minutes as well, so you have to keep some patience here. Okay, you can see here the instance deployment has been completed successfully. It took a lot of time, around 10 to 15 minutes, so you have to keep patience at that point. Okay, so everything seems fine. Now what we are going to do, before I deploy my Spring Boot application, right now if I deploy my Spring Boot application, of course it will fail, because whatever properties that I have mentioned here, these are suitable for my local machine, right? So this local host, so all these things has to be changed. What should be the value of this? Well, there are some environment variables which should be automatically passed by AWS. We don't need to worry about it. We just need to know the name of those variables. These are fixed name and you have to put the exactly same name. It is not something that you have to modify. The first thing that I am going to write JDBC : MySQL : and over here, rather than writing localhost, I would be replacing it with an environment variable name, which is $RDS_host : right? So what do you mean by this? So if it is available, it will take this RDS host, otherwise it will go with the local host. Okay, it has to be RDS host name, and then here we have to put $RDS_port or 3306. So in that way it will be running on your local machine also, and it will be running on your AWS also without making any changes. And then RDS database name, right? So we don't know the database name there, so we will just write the name RDS DB name, RDS_DB_name : employee DB, whatever the local one, right? Fine. Similarly, username and password. Although we know that the username and password, we kept it root and password even for my AWS, but still I'll write this for our future use. Just need to write RDS_user or root. And over here, we'll just need to write RDS password. And we're going to write RDS_password. Done, or password. Fine. Anything else that I need to change? Well, I'm okay with other things. These are fixed properties. I don't want to make any changes anywhere else. That seems to be fine. So let's verify once again. So we have provided this RDS host name, RDS port, RDS DB name, as well as RDS username and RDS password. That's all. Save this. With these changes, it will be running fine on my local machine as well, because for local machine, I am not going to pass this environment variable. So it will, by default, it will take localhost 3306 and employee DB. So it won't create any problem. So right now what I'm going to do, I'll build this application. Let's build the application. Let's do a Maven package. So let me do a package. So let's do a package here. You can open the command line and you can type mvn clean package. That is also fine, right? So we got this target folder and we got our application, which is employee app.jar file. This is the file that we were looking for. So we will just deploy this file. How do you deploy this file? The way we have to deploy this file, by using Elastic Beanstalk. So I'll go back to my Elastic Beanstalk, and there is an option upload and deploy. Click on upload and deploy. So I'll go to the employee app folder I'll go to the target folder, and this is what we have created, employee app jar file. Let's open it. Let's deploy it. Any version level you want to specify, it's up to you. We'll just deploy it. So let's wait for the deployment to be completed. It will again take some time, but it won't take much time. Maybe hardly 2 minutes it will take. Okay, so it seems that the environment update has been completed successfully. So I'll just browse this page and look at this, what we got. Right, so we got our Swagger API homepage, and let's try to post some data first of all, right? So let's try to post. Remember, this is running on AWS right now, so you can see over here it's running on AWS, and let's post something, right? So ID is 1, and let's give a name. Let me make it a little bit bigger. So let's give a name, Manish. Let's write it properly, Manish. Let's provide an email, manish@yahoo.com, and address, like Manish stays in Kolkata. Okay, cool. Let's click on execute, and let's see what response we got. We got the response. It has been saved, right? So we can check this over here. Let's make a GET request, try it out. Make an execute, and right now we'll be able to see that we got one record, which is Manish here, and it's being saved on RDS right now. So you can also see the logs, Spring Boot logs, if at all you want to verify that whether we are actually connected to RDS or not, right? So we can verify it by checking the Spring Boot logs as well. You can go to your environment, you can look for logs, you can request for logs, you can check for last 100 lines, and okay, so you can open and see the logs, right? So you can see all your Spring Boot logs over here, right? So you will be able to see that this is your Spring Boot log, and over here you will be able to see that, like if at all I'll display it, right? So you'll see all the information, right? So the JPA and all this information related to your database and every single thing that you will be able to see, right? So the table has been created over here. You can see create table, employee, and everything else. You would be able to see that. So you can see it is using the connection MySQL, right? So you can see over here, and everything else you would be able to see. Also, you would be able to see the other logs as well, right? So the insert statement, right? So insert into employees, right? This also got executed, right? So everything is working perfectly, and everything is on AWS right now. So this was quite simple, quite easy. Follow the same steps, everything will work fine. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.